We believed we were safe. For generations, humanity has looked up at the stars and dreamed of exploration, but we have failed to look down at our own feet and recognize the ground is shifting beneath us. The Earth, our only home, is not the stable, permanent foundation we once believed it to be. It is a precarious machine. A delicate balance of fire and cold, of atmospheric chemistry and magnetic fields, all working in extraordinary synchrony to create the conditions that allowed us to exist. And that machine is running out of time. Stephen Hawking understood this with terrifying clarity. His warning was not about a single catastrophic event, a meteor strike, or a supervolcano eruption. His warning was about something far more insidious, an irreversible trajectory. We are the strain on the system. We have become the architects of our own potential extinction, and we have been designing this outcome with every industrial revolution. Every cleared forest and every ton of carbon we have pumped into the sky. We stand at a precipice that no generation before us has ever faced. The question is no longer whether we are changing the planet. The question is whether we can change ourselves before it is too late. This is not a philosophical debate. This is not a political disagreement. This is a biological reality. Because we are witnessing the opening act of what may be humanity's final chapter. The warning signs are everywhere. The ice sheets are melting at rates that were considered impossible just 2 decades ago. The oceans are acidifying, their chemistry fundamentally altered by our emissions. The atmosphere is warming, shifting weather patterns that have been stable for thousands of years. And yet we continue. We continue to extract. We continue to burn. We continue to consume as if there is no tomorrow. But tomorrow is coming, and it will not look like today. We have been warned by the brightest minds in human history. We have been warned by the data, by the science, by the undeniable evidence that surrounds us. The question is no longer about awareness. The question is about action. We are failing the planet. And in failing the planet, we are failing ourselves. The clock is ticking, and we have squandered precious time. But perhaps there is still a chance. Perhaps we can still change our trajectory. Perhaps we can still become what we should have been all along. Guardians of our world. But that chance is fading. Every day we delay. Every decision we make to prioritize short-term gain over long-term survival brings us closer to the point of no return. We must understand the gravity of our situation. We must confront the uncomfortable truth about what we have done and what we continue to do. We must ask ourselves the hardest question any species has ever faced. Do we deserve to survive? The answer lies not in the stars, but in ourselves. And time is running out. To understand the crisis we face, we must divide it into 2 distinct categories. The first is natural limits, the cosmic instability that has always threatened life on Earth. The second is self-inflicted wounds, the damage we have done to the very systems that sustain us. Both are converging now, creating a perfect storm of existential threat. Let us first consider the natural limits. The Earth has always been a precarious place. Our existence is dependent on a series of delicate balances that could be disrupted at any moment. The sun, our source of life, is not a constant. It undergoes cycles of activity that can affect our atmosphere and our technology. Solar storms, massive eruptions of energy from our star, have the potential to disrupt our electrical grids, our communication systems, everything that modern civilization depends upon. And then there is the magnetosphere, the invisible shield that protects us from cosmic radiation and solar wind. This shield is weakening. Scientists have observed significant degradation in its strength, and we do not fully understand the consequences. The magnetic poles have been shifting, the Zeithield Diorbs accelerating in ways that have not been seen in thousands of years. We are exposed, we are vulnerable, the Earth's resources are finite. We have extracted minerals, metals, and fossil fuels at an unprecedented rate. We are consuming resources that took millions of years to form in the span of a few generations. This is not sustainability. This is depletion. We are mining our own future. But these natural threats, as significant as they are not the primary danger we face. The primary danger comes from within. We are now the biggest factor in our own destruction. Our industrial processes have forced nature back into an unnatural state. We have become a geological force, changing the very chemistry of the planet. Our pollution is not a minor inconvenience. It is systemic instability of the highest order. Climate change is not just bad weather. It is the fundamental reorganization of the Earth's systems. The atmosphere, the ocean, the cryosphere, they are all interconnected, and we are disrupting every single one. Think of the Earth as a complex machine. Every component works in harmony to create the conditions for life. The oceans absorb carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. The forests regulate rainfall and temperature. The ice caps reflect solar radiation and keep the planet cool. We are dismantling this machine piece by piece. We are releasing greenhouse gases that trap heat, warming the planet to levels not seen in millions of years. We are acidifying the oceans, dissolving the shells of marine organisms, and destroying the base of the food chain. We are warming the atmosphere, melting the ice caps, and raising sea levels. The result is a cascade of consequences that could spiral out of control. There is a point at which feedback loops become become self-sustaining, a point at which the ice melts faster than we can stop it, releasing methane that warms the planet further, melting more ice, releasing more methane, a point at which the oceans warm so much that they stop absorbing carbon dioxide, accelerating the greenhouse effect. A point at which the permafrost thaws, releasing ancient carbon that we cannot possibly contain. This is the path we are on. This is the trajectory that Stephen Hawking warned us about. We are not just polluting our world, we are fundamentally altering its ability to sustain life. And we are doing it at an accelerating rate. The science is settled. The debate is over. The only question that remains is whether we will act before it is too late. We have the technology to transition to renewable energy. We have the resources to rebuild our infrastructure. We have the knowledge to restore our ecosystems. What we lack is the will. What we lack is the collective intelligence to make difficult decisions for the long-term good of the species. We are like a patient who has been diagnosed with a terminal illness, but refuses to change their lifestyle. We are waiting for a miracle that will never come. And as we wait, the clock continues to tick. We have reached a critical juncture in human history. The decisions we make now will determine the fate of our species. This is what scientists call a path dependence. Once a path is chosen, it becomes increasingly difficult to change direction. We have been on a certain trajectory for centuries, one of growth, consumption, and expansion. That trajectory is now accelerating toward its logical conclusion. The question is whether we can change course, or whether we are locked into this pattern of destruction. To understand our predicament, we must introduce the concept of planetary stewardship. We are not just inhabitants of Earth. We are its guardians. We have the intelligence to understand our impact, and we have the power to change it. But we have failed in this responsibility. We have behaved not like stewards, but like an invasion force. We have treated the planet as a resource to be extracted, not a home to be protected. We have been extracting for centuries without any thought to the long-term consequences. We have been polluting our environment, poisoning our water, poisoning our air, poisoning our soil. And we have done all of this in the name of progress, in the name of prosperity, in the name of economic growth. But what progress is there if we destroy the very foundation of our existence? What prosperity is there if we cannot breathe the air, if we cannot drink the water, if we cannot grow our food? We have become so focused on short-term gains that we have lost sight of the long-term picture. We have been so concerned with our own individual well-being that we have neglected the collective welfare. We are living in a dream, and that dream is about to become a nightmare. Stephen Hawking was not the first to warn us, but his words carry particular weight. Because of his genius, he understood the physics of our predicament. He knew that we are not separate from the universe, but part of it. We are connected to everything, and what we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. His warning was not academic, It was a cry for survival, a plea for sanity, a call to action, but we have not listened. We have been too busy fighting each other, too busy protecting our borders, too busy worrying about our own narrow interests. We have been too distracted by the petty squabbles of politics to notice the bigger picture. We are like passengers on a sinking ship arguing about who gets the best lifeboat, but our ship is not sinking. It is being dismantled from the inside. We are tearing apart the very vessel that carries us. There is no escape, there is no rescue, there is only the stark choice before us. The choice between stewardship and extinction. The choice between cooperation and self-destruction. The choice between survival and defeat. This is not a test. This is reality. We have the power to make the right choice. But we must make it now. Every day we hesitate, the choice becomes harder. Every day we delay, our options narrow. We must become stewards of our planet. We must protect the systems that sustain us. We must change our ways before it is too late. The path dependence of our industrial civilization, we can choose a different, can be broken. We can choose a different direction. We can choose sustainability. We can choose resilience. We can choose life. But it will require sacrifice. It will require cooperation. It will require a fundamental shift in our values and priorities. We can no longer afford to prioritize profit over planet. We can no longer afford to treat our environment as an infinite resource. We can no longer afford to ignore the warnings of science. We are facing a reckoning. It is time to decide what kind of beings we are. Now we must confront the most difficult question of all. What if we cannot save the planet? What if our failure is already too complete, our trajectory too deeply set? What if we have passed the point of no return? This is the nightmare that Stephen Hawking was trying to prepare us for. The possibility that Earth may no longer be a safe home for humanity. The necessity of leaving. This is not science fiction. This is a logical, necessary contingency. Peeps. We must consider the possibility of escape. We must consider the possibility of seeking refuge elsewhere, among the stars. Mars, perhaps, or other worlds beyond our solar system. We have the technology to begin this journey. We have the capability to reach other planets, but the the distances are vast, the resources required staggering, the technology still in its infancy. And even if we could reach another world, could we survive there? Would we be able to terraform a new planet, to make it habitable, to create a new Earth? This is a monumental task, one that would require a level of cooperation and commitment we have never achieved. The cost of leaving is not just logistical. It is emotional. It is spiritual. We would be losing our foundation. We would be losing our connection to history and gravity. We would be becoming exiles in space, refugees from our own destruction. We would be leaving behind everything we have ever known, everything we have ever loved, everything that has made us who we are. We would be jettisoning our home. That is the true tragedy. The planet is our inheritance. It is the source of all life, the cradle of our civilization, the birthplace of our dreams, and we are destroying it. We are driving ourselves out of our own home. But is there another way? Is there a future in which we stay, a future in which we preserve what we have? The answer is yes, but it requires a fundamental change in how we live. It requires a new relationship with our planet. It requires a new understanding of our place in the world. It requires a new commitment to sustainability, to cooperation, to collective intelligence. The future is not written. We have the power to choose. We have the power to change. We have the power to survive. But it is up to us. We cannot rely on government. We cannot rely on corporations. We cannot rely on technology alone. We have to rely on ourselves. We have to become the guardians of our world. We have to protect the planet for future generations. We have to act now. The stakes are high. The consequences are dire. But the opportunity is real. We have the chance to create a better world, a world of peace, prosperity, and sustainability. We have the chance to build a future worth living. The choice is ours. The warning is now not an academic debate, but a countdown clock ticking across our species. Every day brings us closer to the end, but every day also gives us a chance to turn things around. We must decide what kind of beings we are, stewards or simply trespassers. The planet is our inheritance. It is up to us to decide what we do with it. We stand at the intersection of science and necessity. We must choose wisely. We must choose now. Time is running out, but hope is not lost. We can still save our home. We can still save ourselves. We can still forge a future of which we can be proud. It all depends on us. We have heard the warning. We have understood the stakes. We know what is at risk. Now it is time to act. The planet is in crisis. We are at the brink. We must decide what kind of beings we are, not as individuals, but as a species, not as nations, but as a global community, not for ourselves alone, but for all future generations. The choice is ours. The time is now. The warning has been sounded. The countdown is ticking, but the story is not over. We can still write a different ending. We can still choose a different path. We can still survive. We can still thrive. We can still be the guardians of our planet. We can still be the beings Stephen Hawking believed we could be. It is time. It is now. The future is in our hands. Let us choose wisely. Let us choose together. Let us choose survival. The planet is our inheritance. Do not let it become our epitaph.